Welcome to How to Use Chat GPT for Search Engine Optimization. This beginner's course will teach you how to use the world's most advanced artificial intelligence, Chat GPT, to do search engine optimization better, faster, and cheaper, and finally achieve the first position in Google. My name is Peter, and I've helped companies around the globe to empower their SEO teams and achieve the best results in search engine optimization. As an SEO consultant, I've worked with startups like BirdBody, who raised over 4 million on Kickstarter, companies big and small, and multi-million-dollar companies like Hisense. I've worked with their teams and agencies to improve and elevate their SEO results. In this course, you'll learn how to use ChatGPT for all of the different parts of SEO and other parts of your marketing that will allow you to work better, faster, and with more success. We will use the most advanced artificial intelligence for content strategy and for keyword research. I have great examples on how you can use ChatGPT to optimize content that you are preparing and how to optimize your existing content, how to do technical SEO, and we will use ChatGPT for link building. But this is not all. ChatGPT is going to help us program tools and it will help us analyze our competition and even more. This is the right course for you if you already have some SEO experience and would like to use the top artificial intelligence to get even more results. If you're the head of SEO or VP of marketing and need to supervise your SEO agency, this is the course for you. If you work in an SEO agency or would like to expand your clients' results, get the results faster, you should probably enroll into this course. And if you have a website and would just like to rank better in Google, you can learn with me on how to do that easier and faster with ChatGPT. Come and join me in this revolution before your competition does. Welcome to the first lesson of the How to Use ChatGPT in SEO. What is this ChatGPT that everyone is talking about and how it's going to change the future of marketing? Well, it is something really big and something really new. If Netflix took 41 months to reach 1 million users, Facebook 10 months, and Instagram 2.5 months, ChatGPT needed only 5 days to get to first 1 million users. This shows us that it is a real game changer. And if you've heard rumors, Google is on red alert. Microsoft invested $1 billion, yes, $1 billion, and everyone is sure that this is the AI that will change the world. Is this the end of Google? Is this the end of SEO? Is this the end of marketing? Is this the end of everything? I don't know. But I've been using ChatGPT since it launched, and it is a great assistant in life in general. But even more, I've been developing workflows and processes that will help my SEO and will help your SEO to better, faster, and cheaper. ChatGPT is a chatbot, but not unlike anyone you've seen. It's not a chatbot that will give you 3 options and then just reply something that you didn't ask. It's a chatbot that really understands your questions and is able to answer. It is a trained language processing model from OpenAI. That's a company that also has a non-profit side of it. And it will and can answer any question and in any language. But don't just listen to me tell you about this great tool. We can just easily go and check out how this works. We'll talk about the user interface and everything else in the next session. But just to give you an idea, if I ask it, how will you change the world? And this is not, no one told this program how to answer. This is not an animation. This is how this artificial intelligence really creates answers and tells you what it wants. I can ask it philosophical questions like this one, or very practical. Can you prepare, and I can make mistakes while typing, prepare a lunch menu for people that love fish. And we get a lunch menu for 4 people, right? Starters with great smoked salmon. We get entrees, again with salmon. It's like salmon, obviously. And we get everything else that we need to do. Sometimes ChatGPT can be a bit wordy. It can talk about a lot of stuff, but in general, it gives you great answers. And of course, if you really want to know facts, you can always ask it, what is the best email marketing tool, talking about email marketing and marketing in general. ChatGPT is usually not going to tell you his own opinion, or her, we don't know, but it's going to tell you the results that you would generally expect it would tell you. So I've asked it about email marketing tools and tells me about MailChimp, Constant Contact, HubSpot, ActiveCampaign. Probably all the things that any marketing person would tell you if you ask it that. So in general, we'll go into the details in the next lessons, but in general, the best chatbot that has access to the knowledge, all of the knowledge in the world and more. Now follow me to the next lesson. We'll see how to create a free account. Luckily, ChatGPT is still free, and how to start using it. Welcome to the second lesson on how to create your OpenAI account and how to start using this Chat GPT. Let's go to the website. So the website is called OpenAI. It's the company that has created the product. You can, Google it, just Google OpenAI, or you can just scan the code that you're going to see up here, and you're going to come to the website of the company. They are creating a lot of different products. You can see all of them if you scroll to the bottom of the page. We can see down here all of the products that they have developed. ChatGPT is the one that we talk about right now. Wall-E is artificial intelligence that we will also be using to generate images for our articles. So it can create any image from any query that you give it. Whisper AI is an AI that helps you create subtitles from video and audio and others, right? So you can, at the end of the day, just scroll here and click on ChatGPT. You'll come to the website of this product, and then we have to click on Try ChatGPT, that is here. Now we come to the landing page where we can log in, usually if you already have an account, or just sign up when you have to create a new account. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to click on sign up. And now, as with any other tool, we have to provide them some information. Let me zoom in into that. We'll give them an email address. We have to click on the reCAPTCHA, and then we have to solve a puzzle. This one says select all squares with traffic lights. We'll click on this too, verify, and we can continue. Now we have to create a password. As always, create a strong password. It has to contain at least 8 characters. And then we continue. Now we've received an email to our email address. So what we have to do is we open our Gmail or Outlook or whatever we do, and we click on the link there. This is how this email looks like. We click on the green button, verify email address. And now it shows us this landing page where we have to provide some more information on what we are and how we are. So we'll give our first name, our last name. Then we have to give them a phone number. And they will send us a code to our phone number that we enter into the system. And in general, we can now start using ChatGPT, and in the next lesson, we'll look at how to do that and how to start asking your first questions. We have created a Chat GPT account and now we can finally start using it. So you go and log in, and this is the screen that you will see. Here you can also already see there are two parts of the screen. On the left side, you will have settings at the bottom part. Let me just move away for a bit. Settings on the bottom part. And on the top part, you have the history of your chats with ChatGPT, or you can always start a new chat at the top. On the central part is where all the magic happens, right? And you always have, when you start a new chat, you always have a couple of examples. It tells you what it can do or maybe some limitations, right? So let's just start with the question, what is the best SEO tool? We can have exact conversation with the tool. It's not only we send it a question and then it gives a reply and then it restarts. No. If it tells us something, we can ask it to reformulate that or be more detailed on an answer, right? So now it told us that the best SEO tools are Google Search Console, SEMrush, Ahrefs, and Moz. Okay? Let me just zoom into that so you can see all of the results here. Can you tell me more about the first one? And I don't have to say, can you tell me more about the Google Search Console? No, I can say, can you tell me more about the first one? Because he knows what I'm relating to, right? And he tells me more stuff about Google Search Console. If English is not your first language, as mine isn't, and that is of course great in SEO, we can switch it to other languages. Can you please speak only German to me? German is also not my first language, but I'd like to play with languages. He's still answering about the Google Search Console. So while he's answering, we can't really stop it. And that can be a problem. Sometimes when you go and it answers weird stuff out there, you can't really stop it, but that's how it is. And now it's going to speak only German to me. Ich kann gerne auf Deutsch mit dir sprechen. Bitte beachte, dass meine Fähigkeiten in dieser Sprache begrenzt sind, da ich von einem großen englischen Sprachmodell trainiert wurde. Wie kann ich dir helfen? So it's saying that his German is limited, and that's all right, so is mine. And because he was only it, she, whatever the pronouns are, was trained only on a big part in English, right? So using other languages is not as good. The spelling and the grammar in other languages are not as good as in English, but it still does a very good job of preparing most of the content, right? So I can ask it something in German now. Was kann ich essen für gesundes Leben? My German writing is even worse, but it can give me any result in German. And we can see we get all of the results. All right, let's get it back to English. And it is able to do much more than just reply in text. We can, for example, tell him to answer something as a table, right? So he's now replying. Let's wait for the reply. Can you show me a table of all the varieties of rice and tell me their calories and most common usage? So now we want to see a table that is going to tell us what are the different varieties and different information about each variety. And we can see we get rice types, white rice, brown rice, wild rice, basmati rice, calories per serving for each of these, and common usage, right? And all of these things we can always copy and paste somewhere else, right? So, all right, we would like to, let me zoom out, we'd like to use this one in Word because we would like to, so we open up a Word account, a Word document, and we already have a table in Word. Or we can paste that into WordPress or into any other CMS that we are using, and we can directly use this content. Right? Or maybe we can then, because this is a chatbot, we can chat with it. We can always ask it to update the content that it just gave us. So let's update this table and ask it to give us the information on where these rice types are most often grown. Can you add information on where this rice are grown? And it should add another column to the table. See, that's what it's doing. So we have the same information here, but where it is usually grown, each of those rice types that we are seeing. We can also, of course, ask it to program stuff. We've told you that we can get any program, almost any programming language out of it. So if we ask it to program a script to add into with CSS and PHP, these are the programming languages that are mostly used. Can you program a script where I can click on 3 different smileys to select my favorite? Please use PHP and CSS. And now it starts programming. What we have to know is ChatGPT is not able to access any tools, and it's not able to access websites directly. Meaning we can't tell it, okay, go and use SEMrush keyword tool and give us the keyword volumes. It will give you keyword volumes if you ask it for, but they're usually wrong, right? We also can't send it to a website and say, okay, go and check that website and see what is written there. That's not working. But what we always can do is we can give it some information, just paste it into here, into the chat, and then ask it about that information. So I've asked it to give me a list of all of the EU countries. I've used a different chat, so just to make it a difference. And now I'm going to copy and paste this list into Excel, just to show you how that works. And remove one of those countries out of it, and then I'll ask ChatGPT if it can tell me which of the countries is missing. So here's our Excel, we'll paste in there, and we'll remove Germany, just for the fun of it. And let's go back to the chat we were using previously. This is a list of all EU countries, but a country is missing. Which one is missing? And then I paste the list in here. It goes through the list and it's going to tell me, it looks like the country of Germany is missing from the list. Here is the complete list. So no problems of reading the content that we pasted into it and then giving us information, analyzing that content and giving us basic information on what is missing in our list. We can always edit a question, so we can go back here and say, all right, let's edit this question, and we'll remove a couple of more countries, and we can rerun that question. We can rate questions. We can rate answers. We can rate them good or bad. Just go, all right, this is excellent, or this wasn't really that excellent. And generally, there's when we have the code, there is generally a copy button, so we can copy a code that it gave us just to get it easier into our program. And because we don't want to waste any resources, we're going to take this form that it gave us previously and put it into a WordPress post. Just what was that? That was pick your favorites me. And we have the CSS that we can also paste into the custom CSS. So I've added the HTML into the WordPress, and I can now go to preview and see how that looks like. It's not really gonna look really great because there are other things that I should be doing, but there are a couple of options, smiley, that I can pick, right? We'll work on more on how to generate small scripts and small programs that you can use in WordPress or any other CMS that you're using. But in general, this is how we use Chat GPT. I think it's fair time now to go and check out how we can start using Chat GPT for SEO. Let's go to the next lesson and we'll look how we can use it to generate ideas and do keyword research. Welcome. Now we really start doing our SEO. The first part in every SEO campaign should always be keyword analysis. May that be if we start SEO in general, or when we start thinking about what kind of content we should be preparing, what kind of content is interesting, what kind of content has any search volume. This is why we're going to work on keyword analysis as the question number one. Going back to ChatGPT, we can see, let's pretend that we're a company that is selling logging winches. The first question, and of course we want to rank number one for logging winches. So we're going to go and ask ChatGPT, what are, let me zoom that in a bit and move to the other side. What are the most important topics to write about logging winches? So what we are not getting now is topic ideas that are generally can be blog content ideas, or if they are not separate blog content, they can be paragraphs or headings within a blog, right? So if you want to write a big blog about logging winches, you're going to talk about safety of logging, types of logging winches, maintenance of logging winches, applications, regulations, and standard for logging winches. And each of those is going to be a separate heading. And then you're going to prepare a couple of paragraphs about these. Or you can ask yourself, maybe maintenance of logging winches should be a separate blog post on its own. Then you can just go and do that, right? This isn't everything that we're going to do on the keyword research. What we have to do with this one is, of course, then take the keywords, types of logging winches. We can do that en masse or just one by one, and then put them into SEMrush or any other. If you're not using SEMrush yet, you can just use the code that I'm showing here, right? So not all of the keywords, of course, are going to have search volume. So this is why we want to check each of those keywords that we get from ChatGPT and figure out how much volume do they have, right? We can always go into details and go, all right, it told us about that we have to write about different types of logging winches, and then we ask some more. What are the most important keywords when writing about logging winches? And it's going to tell us the keywords that we want to use within the article. Or maybe, again, this can be parts of, right? Sometimes, was that my mistake or it's? I wanted to ask typing when writing about types of logging winches. When writing about types of logging winches, and it should give us all of the different types of logging winches. And of course, some of this content can already be used as a base for your articles. We'll talk about this later, how safe it is, or if you should use the content that comes here out of ChatGPT directly on your website. You probably don't want to do that. But still, this is a very good start of a very good article, right? And we can go on and ask it. So it gave us a lot of interesting types of winches. And now we can go and ask, okay, tell us more about hydraulic logging winches. And this is how we would get ideas on what to write for each part of that article. But there are, of course, other ways of how we can do keyword research. So let's go and do that. But again, the most important thing that we have to do right now, the keywords that we got from Chat GPT, we take these out, put them in an Excel sheet, check search volume, check the keyword difficulty, and based on that, we decide what articles are we going to write and how we're going to do that. And now we're going to look at how we're going to get ideas for questions from ChatGPT. So if we're back at our example of logging winches, instead of going to SEMrush, where it gives us some questions that are not always the best, we can go here and ask it, what are the most obvious questions people ask about hydraulic logging winches? And then it gives us a list of the questions that we can directly use for SEO, right? So we want to answer those questions and add them to our website. Later on in the lessons, we're going to check on how to add the code so that our questions show themselves as the schema for FAQ. We'll get to that. And of course, ChatGPT is going to program all of that for us. But now we got a list of 10 different questions about logging winches. How much weight can a hydraulic logging winch lift? That sounds great. How do you maintain and repair one? Can they be used in different times of weather? Can hydraulic logging winches be used for tasks other than logging, such as construction or rescue? All sound logical and great answers, right? Let's take a different example. What are the most important questions about roofing that people ask? Going to a different vertical, roofing can be very important for SEO, especially for local SEO. Here are the most important questions people often ask about roofing. And let's not forget, we are now creating ideas, but we can always ask ChatGPT to generate the content and answer those questions. Let's see. Can you answer the question number 3? Or which one would be? How long does a roof last? That sounds like a great question. Can you answer the question number 5? And here now we have the answer. The lifespan of a roof depends on several factors, including the type of roofing material, the quality, and the local climate. In general, asphalt shingle roofs last 20 to 30 years, metal roofs 50 years or more, etc., etc. Sounds logical. I have no idea about roofing, but it sounds pretty logical. So these are all of the different types of keyword research and FAQ research that we can do with ChatGPT, but it can get even more interesting. What comes up very often is that we have to look for the keywords or topics that we have missed with our keyword research in the past, right? So clients or maybe yourself, you already have a lot of blog posts on your website. It's not that you have to start it from the beginning. You have hundreds, maybe more of blog posts, and now you want to figure out which are the keywords or topics that you are missing. Going through the list of all of your blogs and then thinking about which are missing can be very problematic. And I haven't heard about a good SEO strategy to do that. ChatGPT can do that. I've opened Screaming Frog. Screaming Frog is a one-time paid tool for SEO where it checks your website in the same way as Google does, right? So it gives you great ideas about everything. And if you want to check it out, here's the link that you can do that. I send it on the website, and now I have all of the titles of all of the blogs on the website. There's 120 blogs, and figuring out which of the keywords that are missing here would be pretty bad. So I'll open a new chat and I'll go, this is a list of all our blogs. What topics are missing and what topics should we add? If I hit enter now, we're going to send this query and we're going to get answers. What I have to do is I have to click on shift, hold down shift, and then click enter to get a second line. It's similar as in Excel, for example. Now I paste all of my titles, and as you can see that, it's not a perfect list. Because I got it en masse from Screaming Frog, I have the blog title and next to it the category and the brand name. But ChatGPT doesn't matter, doesn't care about that. We can just send that and he's gonna answer us what are the topics that we haven't covered. This can take hours or days with big blogs. And we got that in a second. Role of birds in pest control and ecosystem balance, we don't have that. Bird communication and vocalization, we probably have that. It's not perfect, but that's all right. Bird behavior, courtship, rituals, and social hierarchies, all of these are pretty good ideas, right? So as said, we can't send him to go to the website and check that out and see what's happening. But what we can do is we can give them a list, and those lists can be bigger or smaller, right? You can just take one part of your blog. For example, go to your website, find the blog, and then find a special category that you would like to check out. Get all of those blog posts from that category and then ask ChatGPT what is missing in there, right? So he's going to stay in that category and do the analysis there. Okay. I think we have everything covered, talking about keywords in general. Now we're going to go and check what we can do for a specific article when we are preparing that article. Welcome to this lesson where we are going to look into how you can prepare the best SEO optimized article for a very specific keyword. In the previous lessons, what we did is we figured out which are the topics that are important for us, and we figured out which are the keywords that are important for us. Now we're going to take one of these keywords and do all of the analysis with Chat GPT, and then we're going to make it write the article and write everything else that it can write for us, so that we get the best optimized SEO article in the world. Let's go and open Chat GPT. I'm going to zoom in a bit for you. So the first thing that we want to ask it is give us the most important keywords for our main topic. What are the most important keywords for the topic house sparrow? House sparrow is a type of bird or species, and we get the keywords. So again, these keywords have to be checked in SEMrush or Keyword Finder or Ahrefs or whatever you're normally using. And of course, you can find other keywords that you also have to add in here, but this can be pretty good. It seems we made a mistake and we made him not our sparrow, but house sparrow. And now we get all of the keywords that are important. In SEO, what is also very important are the so-called LSI keywords. LSI keywords are keywords that are a bit different, that are not directly connected with the keyword, but have to be used in the article so that Google, as an AI itself, can see that we know what we talk about. So this is why we're going to ask OpenAI to give us all of the LSI keywords. What are the most important keywords for this topic? See, it also teaches us something. It tells us what are the LSI keywords and which could there be here. And we can see that those keywords are different than the ones that he printed previously. Okay, so now we have all of these keywords. Now, the best thing that we can do is just get him to write the article. Using all of the mentioned keywords, please prepare an article. Now, the more specific we are with our query, the better article we're going to get. The more info we put in there, the better article is going to be. So we're going to say the article should be 1,000 words long. It should include all the keywords that you have mentioned in this chat. It should be SEO optimized for Google and author search. There are, of course, other things that we can also tell Chat GPT to do. The article should have multiple paragraphs. Please prepare subtitles and a table with important information. We can also, some people would even give ChatGPT a part of their own article and tell them to write the article in such a style. What we can do is we can say this article should be informative but also funny and interesting. And here we go. Now we get our article. We get a title, we get a subtitle, and then we get the content of the article. We also get subtitles that are SEO optimized, history of house sparrows. It does take a while, just me sitting here and watching how the article is written, but it's faster than anything ever. Even if you go on Upwork and try to get someone to write the article, or you write it by yourself, you're never going to write it as fast as this one. So, we shouldn't be complaining that we have slow internet on the airplanes, because we have internet on the airplanes. And it's same here. We shouldn't be complaining that we have a slow chatbot, but this chatbot, a 1,000-word article on sparrows would be 50 euros or dollars, 100, 200. Could be even more, right? So waiting a minute for him to finish is not really that bad. So we got subtitle about the history of the birds, habitat and distribution, feeding and breeding behaviors. And sometimes this happens. The response just stopped. I'm not sure what exactly is happening here. Generally, there's a limit of how much ChatGPT can do at once. Some people say it just waits if you're still there. Whatever, it's pretty easy just to say continue. I like to ask it continue, please, and then it continues the article as it's supposed to be, right? when you will be producing articles like this, you're going to see that it depends on the query what you're going to get. This article is a bit different from the article that I got when I was preparing for this lecture. I can show you the article that I received when I was preparing for this lecture, and it seems that this one is better. If you want, you can also add into the query how complicated the article should be. Should this be an article for someone in middle school? Should this be an article for university level? Should this be an expert article? Should this be the general article? You can always add stuff like that in there. And you see also what is important for SEO is that we try to step away from the only words in our article. So this is great that we got a nice list of fun facts about house sparrows, right? And as said, I wanted to show you the article that I received previously when I was preparing for this one. It was great that I also received a table with all of the important things. The query was a bit different, but the query for the table, it was pretty similar to what we did right now, right? So figure out and get a specific query and then reuse the query that got you the best results. This is how we should be doing it. Okay, now we have a giant article. We can't go to post that directly to the internet. You have to wait for that. But before we go doing that, a couple of other things that we need. Can you prepare a meta title and meta description for this article? Every article that we prepare, every article that we post on the internet should have an optimized meta title and meta description. Here we have both of these. And Chat GPT is sometimes weird with counting the words, the characters. We know the meta title should be 60 characters, the meta description should be 160 characters. It can be too long. You have to check them by yourself. The next thing that we usually do when we want to create a really good SEO article is we go for frequently asked questions and answers. Can you prepare 5 frequently asked questions and answers for this article? And one of the next lessons, we're going to see how we're going to do the schema for that. But did I type something wrong? I think not. In general, we get 5 questions and answers. The questions are: where do house sparrows come from? Are house sparrows harmful to the native bird populations? What do house sparrows eat? And how do house sparrows reproduce? Are house sparrows endangered? These are all of the 5 questions. It seems that we have the right ones. The next thing that we want to prepare is the featured snippet. The featured snippet is a short answer that Google can show at the top of the search results, even before people come to your website. If you want to have that, you have to have a summation of the whole article shown at the top of your article. So let's ask Chat GPT to do that. And of course, ChatGPT knows what a featured snippet is, and it gives you an answer for that. Now we have the content, the title, the meta title, and the description. We have the frequently asked questions. We have the featured snippet. The last thing that we need before we can go and publish the article is a featured image. So generally, every blog post needs at least one image to look nice. Sadly, ChatGPT can't do that, but that does not mean that OpenAI, the company, didn't prepare a different tool that we can use. It's called DALL-E. You just use the QR code. You have to log in with the same username and password, and I have to prove that I'm human as always. I'm pretty bad at this, it seems. So DALL-E is in the same way AI as ChatGPT. When we want it, we tell him what kind of a picture we would like to have, and it's going to create an image for us. The more detailed we are with the instructions, the better the image is going to be. So we want a house sparrow in flag, a realistic picture. And let's see what happens. DALL-E has a bit more it's still free, but you only have a limit of how many pictures you can do every month for free. I think you get 15 different groups of pictures. So this is the 15 different tries, let's call it that way. So now we have, a very nice picture. And what is important for this one is that this is a unique image, never seen on the internet before, and it's created exactly as you would want it, right? So we don't want a house sparrow in flight, house sparrow on the water, digital image, and it's going to prepare a different kind of image. DALL-E is not really good with creating images with faces. It's not really good with creating images with specific things, realistic things. But in general, this one, a perfect picture of a house sparrow. We can download that. Where do we download that? Here, of course. We can download that here and upload to our website. And this is all that we need to have the best SEO optimized article. And we paid nothing for that, and we have an optimal article that we can post directly on our website. In the next lessons, we're going to check how do we do analysis of the articles that are already on your website. And later on, and this is very important, you have to look at that lecture as, are these automatically generated articles really good for your SEO? Using all of the mentioned keywords, please prepare an article. Now, the more specific we are with our query, the better article we're going to get. The more info we put in there, the better article is going to be. So we're going to say the article should be 1,000 words long. It should include all the keywords that you have mentioned in this chat. It should be SEO optimized for Google and author search. There are, of course, other things that we can also tell ChatGPT to do. The article should have multiple paragraphs. Please prepare subtitles and a table with important information. We can also, some people would even give ChatGPT a part of their own article and tell them to write the article in such a style. What we can do is we can say, This article should be informative, but also funny and interesting. And here we go. Now we get our article. We get a title, we get a subtitle, and then we get the content of the article. We also get subtitles that are SEO optimized, history of house sparrows. It does take a while, just me sitting here and watching how the article is written, but it's faster than anything ever. Even if you go on Upwork and try to get someone to write the article, or you write it by yourself, you're never going to write it as fast as this one. So, we shouldn't be complaining that we have slow internet on the airplanes, because we have internet on the airplanes. And it's same here. We shouldn't be complaining that we have a slow chatbot, but this chatbot, a 1,000-word article on sparrows would be 50 euros or dollars, 100, 200. Could be even more, right? So waiting a minute for him to finish is not really that bad. So we got subtitle about the history of the birds, habitat and distribution, feeding and breeding behaviors. And sometimes this happens. The response just stopped. I'm not sure what exactly is happening here. Generally, there's a limit of how much Chat GPT can do at once. Some people say it just waits if you're still there. Whatever, it's pretty easy just to say continue. I like to ask it continue, please. And then it continues the article as it's supposed to be, right? When you will be producing articles like this, you're going to see that it depends on the query what you're going to get. This article is a bit different from the article that I got when I was preparing for this lecture. I can show you the article that I received when I was preparing for this lecture, and it seems that this one is better. If you want, you can also add into the query how complicated the article should be. Should this be an article for someone in middle school? Should this be an article for university level? Should this be an expert article? Should this be a general article? You can always add stuff like that in there. And you see also what is important for SEO is that we try to step away from the only words in our article. So this is great that we got a nice list of fun facts about house sparrows, right? And as said, I wanted to show you the article that I received previously when I was preparing for this one. It was great that I also received a table with all of the important things. The query was a bit different, but the query for the table, it was pretty similar to what we did right now, right? So figure out and get a specific query and then reuse the query that got you the best results. This is how we should be doing it. Okay, now we have a giant article. We can't go to post that directly to the internet. You have to wait for that. But before we go doing that, a couple of other things that we need. Can you prepare a meta title and meta description for this article. Every article that we prepare, every article that we post on the internet should have an optimized meta title and meta description. Here we have both of these. And ChatGPT is sometimes weird with counting the words, the characters. We know the meta title should be 60 characters, the meta description should be 160 characters. It can be too long. You have to check them by yourself. The next thing that we usually do when we want to create a really good SEO article is we go for frequently asked questions and answers. Can you prepare 5 frequently asked questions and answers for this article? And one of the next lessons, we're going to see how we're going to do the schema for that. But did I type something wrong? I think not. In general, we get 5 questions and answers. The questions are: where do house sparrows come from? Are house sparrows harmful to the native bird populations? What do house sparrows eat? And how do house sparrows reproduce? Are house sparrows endangered? These are all of the 5 questions. It seems that we have the right ones. The next thing that we want to prepare is the featured snippet. The featured snippet is a short answer that Google can show at the top of the search results, even before people come to your website. If you want to have that, you have to have a summation of the whole article shown at the top of your article. So let's ask ChatGPT to do that. And of course, ChatGPT knows what a featured snippet is, and it gives you an answer for that. Now we have the content, the title, the meta title, and the description. We have the frequently asked questions. We have the featured snippet. The last thing that we need before we can go and publish the article is a featured image. So generally, every blog post needs at least one image to look nice. Sadly, ChatGPT can't do that, but that does not mean that OpenAI, the company, didn't prepare a different tool that we can use. It's called DALL-E. You just use the QR code. You have to log in with the same username and password. And I have to prove that I'm human, as always. I'm pretty bad at this, it seems. So DALL-E is, in the same way, AI as ChatGPT. When we want it, we tell him what kind of a picture we would like to have, and it's going to create an image for us. The more detailed we are with the instructions, the better the image is going to be. So we want a house sparrow in flight, a realistic picture. And let's see what happens. DALL-E has a bit more it's still free, but you only have a limit of how many pictures you can do every month for free. I think you get 15 different groups of pictures. So this is the 15 different tries, let's call it that way. So now we have, a very nice picture. And what is important for this one is that this is a unique image, never seen on the internet before. And it's created exactly as you would want it, right? So we don't want a house sparrow in flight, house sparrow on the water, digital image, and it's going to prepare a different kind of image. DALL-E is not really good with creating images with faces. It's not really good with creating images with specific things, realistic things. But in general, this one, a perfect picture of a house sparrow. We can download that. Where do we download that? Here, of course. We can download that here and upload to our website. And this is all that we need to have the best SEO optimized article, and we paid nothing for that, and we have an optimal article that we can post directly on our website. In the next lessons, we're going to check how do we do analysis of the articles that are already on your website. And later on, and this is very important, you have to look at that lecture as, are these automatically generated articles really good for your SEO? Before we go and do everything else, let's just do one more thing. We have prepared an article without using any SEO tools, right? So we did the keyword research, the topic research, the LSI research, then we wrote the article, did the FAQs, all of that, without using any paid SEO tools, right? So now to the question, how good is this article? Is this something that we can use or not? We'll talk about this and how Google sees it later. But what I want to do right now is take this article and put it into an SEO tool that can help you, that SEOs usually use to prepare articles in such a way, right? So if I would go and wanted to have the most SEO optimized article, I would first go to SEMrush or Surfer SEO or any other tool that does that. Get a SEO content template, and then these tools give you the keywords, how long the article should be, what type of, is it readable good enough, are the paragraphs in the right way, subtitles, images, stuff like that. All of that is important. These tools also allow you to paste your already existing article into the tool and give you a result. And this is the result that I received when using the article that ChatGPT has prepared for us, right? So I've pasted the article into the tool. I've made all of the titles. I just have to paste the frequently asked questions. And we receive a result of 8.2 out of 10. And that is pretty good, right? It tells us that we are a bit overusing the keyword house sparrow, and that there are a couple of other, these could be LSE keywords or related keywords or whatever you want to call them, that we should be using in here. And this is pretty much normal, even if you would use a different SEO tool and then write the article on what the different tool told you, paste that in SEMrush, it will tell you there are some keywords that you didn't use, right? Okay, we don't have images in there, that's still okay. If we don't have any links, and that's okay. If we go and check the readability, we can see that it's fairly difficult, but still okay, or under whatever the tool told us. Okay, the article is a bit too long, but we wanted that. The title is okay, the title characters are okay. Long paragraphs, okay. We can always change that. Maybe the next query that we use in ChatGPT should tell it, it should have short paragraphs. But everything else, okay, a couple of too complex words, everything else in here is great. Originality, tone of voice, consistency. If we would be using SEMrush from the beginning, we would probably have a good enough or a similarly good article created from SEMrush or with ChatGPT. But SEMrush costs $2,000, $200 a month to do that. And we did that with a free tool. And we wrote the article for free, right? I'm not saying that that means that the article is good enough and you can post it directly to your website, but technicalities, the keywords, all of that are in there are as good as they have to be. And that is a pretty good result. I've worked with freelancers on Upwork and other content writers, and a lot of them are struggling to get a result out of 8 out of 10, and 10, the same result that we received from ChatGPT. So it's a very good start. In this lesson, we're going to check out how we can make our content better with ChatGPT. What we looked at until now were like technical details, but the whole idea of checking the whole article and trying to get the article, the content of the article better, this is what we really want from artificial intelligence. How can we do that? Let's go and check it out. As mentioned before, ChatGPT isn't able to read articles on the website. So what we have to do is we can just paste the content of an article into the ChatGPT, and we can ask it, what is missing in this article? And we paste the article. It appears that the article is discussing the question of whether it is still appropriate to feed birds in the spring and summer months. So and now it just told us that what is happening in this article. Are there any topics that we should have covered in the article but didn't? And now it gives us topics that he thinks that we didn't cover, and he thinks that we should additionally cover, right? Can you make this article funnier? See, and now it added humorous elements to the article and is going to rewrite the article. It's going to give us the full article, but funnier, right? We're going to wait for this one to finish. And then we can, add other content. They can create other content for us that we would like to add in the same way as we've done in the previous lessons. Ask him to, give us a table of what stuff we can feed which birds or whatever, right? But in general, we can ask him what is wrong with our article, what is missing, and it can add the content that is missing. Or we can just ask him to change the content that we have right now, upgrade it, make it more scientific, maybe find sources for the article, or make it, as I did it right now, make it funnier, make it sadder, make it more readable for young people. Let's do that in the next step. We'll go and ask him to make the article readable for people in middle school. Can you rewrite the article so that it can be read by middle school students? So, written the article at the middle school reading level. And now it rewrites the whole article in a completely different way, right? We can also say, okay, can you make this article, can you write it in a way as Shakespeare would have written it? Or can you write it in the way as, any important scientist or writer would write it stylistically? It can change the articles and apply it, the ideas that we give it. Right? So all of these types of things are going to allow us to have better articles, more unique articles, and articles that are more targeted to our target groups. In the next lesson, we're going to look at how we can find which keywords, which LSI keywords are missing from our articles. In this lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to analyze an existing article that we already have and try to figure out which of the keywords that we should use are missing from the article. So what we do is we ask ChatGPT what SI keywords are missing from this article. And then we paste the whole article again as we did previously, right? So now it analyzes our article and gives us the keywords that are missing. And let's see if that is true. We'll analyze the article. Let me just split the screen here for ChatGPT and for the article. All right. Let's see avian enlightenment. We have that. Bird populations. We also have this one. Bird feeding industry. This one is missing. Migration patterns. Missing. So it's not 100% great, but it gives us ideas of what is missing from the article. Again, we would have to use advanced paid tools for SEO if we want to do that. So now we can do this for free. If nothing else, the free part of it is good enough. This all looks too good to be true, right? A 1,000-word article in the past was worth somewhere from 100 to 1,000 euros. Now it can be written in seconds for free. Is that really possible? Is Google going to allow that? We don't know. That it's a new tool and people are already massively using it to create content and post it online, but we have no idea what's going to happen with that. But in general, on the other hand, using AI to generate content or using tools to massively generate content isn't something new. Google has always said that it doesn't like automatically generated content. And when AI came out, Google was also changed his rules about AI content, and he's saying that we shouldn't be using that, and it's against policy to use AI content. But it's always in the definitions and it's always in the details, right? Because what Google is really saying is, as John Mueller said it in one of his videos, we can see on the search engine journal, Google thinks that they can spot automatically generated content and would like to take action against that, right? If we go into Google's documents, into the details, what we're going to see is that they don't like automatically generated content that hasn't been curated by a person. Meaning that if you are using only directly the content from ChatGPT without really reading it through, going through to check for grammar mistakes, and adding something unique as a person, as a writer, then you have a problem. But if you use the content from ChatGPT only as a template, as a beginning of that article, and then add stuff to it, then it's not a problem. There are also, other reasons why using ChatGPT content shouldn't be a thing, right? We are just in the time where the quality, the usable content update has just come out, and that content that also says if you are just saying stuff that has been said elsewhere on the internet, your content is not really usable. It's not really the best content. Google is looking for content where it seems as if you've used the thing, right? If you talk about this mouse, do you have something to add to everything that is already on the internet? Is this something that have you used the thing? Do you have experience with it, right? And everything that ChatGPT creates is unique, but is it really new? Probably not. So directly using the content and only using the content can be problematic. And right now probably is a really good strategy to create content for the websites, but in the future it will be Google is going to take more and more actions to stop people directly using content from AI. But of course, helping yourself with the content from ChatGPT is not a problem. Updating that content, all of these things will make unique and quality content that you should be putting on your website. The creators of OpenAI have been talking about how they're going to make sure, and they have strategies for that, and they have tools for that, so that we can directly try out if some content has been generated by OpenAI or not, or by any other AI tools. There are different tools that you can use to figure out if some content has been created by AI. We are going to use one of them. And you can see that when I've added the text that I've gotten previously from OpenAI or from ChatGPT, it told me that this text is 17% humanly generated. So probably not that bad. And it's true. It's content that is from ChatGPT. We can also analyze other content that I've created by myself. And it says in 95% humanly generated. Are these tools 100% reliable? No, they're not. They're going to, mostly what they're going to do is they're going to show the content that is AI generated, that it is AI generated, but often when you have humanly generated content, they can also show that one as AI generated. Is Google using such tools? We don't know, or probably not yet. It will be a possibility to do it in the future, right? So what's going to happen in the future is the content itself is going to be marked in such a way that we don't see it, but tools can see that it was generated by AI. The tests are going to be better. So we can assume that Google is going to know which content is AI generated and which not. That does not mean that AI-generated content is directly going to be banned. The question is when the content has to be different, when the content has to have the something else, then that content is going to be the humanly generated content for that landing page is going to be preferred by Google. But sometimes it just doesn't matter. Right? Sometimes the AI-generated content can be enough. So what you should be doing at the end is use ChatGPT as a tool that can help you generate stuff, but of course create content that is quality, that helps your website visitors, and with that, you're going to be on the right side of Google. In this lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to find advanced things that you can use with ChatGPT to make your SEO content really SEO, really cutting edge stuff. All right. So the first thing that we're going to look at are the FAQ schema. This is the thing that it's not going to help you directly rank better in Google, but it's going to help you to get more visitors to your website because it increases this click-through rate. So the percentage of people that are going to click on your result, it's going to be higher. It looks like something like this. So in the search results directly, we can open the text, and we can see additional content directly in the search results. So you can see that this search result is larger and bigger, so more people are going to click on that. To do that, we have to create content and put it on our website in a very specific way that is mentioned here. In Google's page that you can also see on the QR code, it gives you specific instructions on how the code should look like, right? So it has to say contact schema and then type FAQ page, type question and then give the question, and then answer and give the answer, right? And we can give more than one questions in one schema package. All right, so let's get ChatGPT to do that. Number one, let's ask a question and receive a result. And then I'll zoom that in. Then we'll ask, can you program an FAQ schema for Google? So now we just get a normal answer. So content, as it can be normally added to your website, but now for now it's not gonna show up as the content that you can open and close in search results, right? What we have to do is we have to program it in a very specific way. We ask ChatGPT, can you program this in FAQ schema? And now we can see it started coding. When it starts coding, it gets the black background, right? And it says what we were watching there. Type FAQ page, type question, and then the question, and then type answer, and then answer. And then it's gonna give even more answers, more than one answer to the question, right? So it's structured in a bit in a weird way, but anyway, we can ask multiple questions and add that and tell ChatGPT to program it into schema. We'll do that as soon as it finishes. Okay, so now it's done, and we would be able to just go and copy that and put it on our website. But now we had one question and then the answer, and then we got the schema. Let's try if we can get it to prepare 5 questions, answer them, and answer, and already make that as the code for schema. Not really. But it doesn't matter. When it finishes the answer, we just ask it to program that as schema. And it's going to do that for us. We're at question number 5, so now it's going to end. Oh no. It's also preparing the FAQ schema code that we can add directly to the website. If we created the schema for the FAQ, the frequently asked questions in the previous lesson, now we can use the ChatGPT to create other kinds of schemas. I'm not going to show you all of the different variations that you can do. Of course, you could create schemas for products, for videos, for events, for whatever else you have on your website. But let's check another example of how we can create the schema for articles. Because this is probably the most interesting and the most used schema of them all. So how do we do that? I've already done something in ChatGPT. So I just asked it, can you please prepare the schema.org code for an article for, and then I gave it an article. These are the national holidays that we were looking at previously, right? And it said, all right, here's the schema.org code, and it prepared the code. So context is schema, type is article, headline, it added the date published, it added short description, and then the content of the article. Of course, if you know schema.org, you know that there are many different parts that you can add into the article schema or into any schema and make it more perfect, right? So I did that. I wanted to add the author in that in the schema. So I just said, can you add the author? And it rewrote the schema for the article with the edit author, right? So author type Peter Mesares, right? So that's me. And of course, that can be all, or you can just work on it a bit more. We can go and use the Google's schema validator, where you can just paste some code, and we'll use the rich results test. I will copy the code and put it into the code. So you can switch here from URL to code, and we want to go with the code, and then just go test code. It's going to test the code and give us the result. So it found one valid item, and that's an article. It has one non-critical issue, two non-critical issues. It's missing the field image, and it's missing the field URL, of course, because we don't have the image and the URL. We can also add that. Whatever the image, the featured image for that article is going to be. And we can also add the URL and the image. And it creates the schema that we can then validate in the Google Validator and then add to our website. So for both of these schemas that I've added, so the article and the previous FAQs, you can both of these add to your website, and they're not going to show on your front page, right? They're not going to be seen on your content. They're just hidden in the code, and it's okay that way, right? So don't worry if something here is a bit different from what the code you have on your website. That's okay. That's how it's supposed to be. And in the next lesson, we're going to figure out how to create a featured snippet for your website. In this lesson, we're going to figure out how to create a featured snippet, or the content that is going to allow us to have a featured snippet. We talked a bit briefly about this when we were preparing new articles for our website. But now let's go into the details and see how that works. So a featured snippet can be seen on top of search result. That's what people usually also call result 0, right? So it's above the first result. The content is already shown on Google results. Technically, people don't even have to click on the first result to see the content because it's already here, right? There are different kinds of featured articles, different kinds of featured snippets. As seen in this SEMrush article, these can be just general paragraphs of content. These can be tables, just like here. This can be lists. This can be videos that are very big and shown on the page. So all of these can be different types of featured snippets. Modern SEO tools are going to tell you where or for which keywords you have a possibility to have a featured snippet. In general, Google is going to give you a featured snippet if a featured snippet already exists there. Meaning what we usually do is we just go and check which keywords that we rank for already have a featured snippet, and then we change our content in such a way that we are a candidate for the featured snippet. You don't have to rank number 1, you can rank number 3, number 4, number 7, and still be shown as the featured snippet. In general, as said, there are different types of featured snippet. What we're going to look at is we're going to try to get the normal paragraph featured snippet, right? So for any article that we prepare, we would have to add the short description or short summation of the content in that article at the top of the article, right? So we just go to Chat GPT and go, can you create here we can see how that works, right? So ask it, can you create a featured snippet for this article? Remember back, we had an article about feeding birds during the winter, and he created a short paragraph. Let me zoom that out so you're going to have an idea of how long that is. a short paragraph on what is the most important in this article. Feeding birds during winter is important. Now, if we feel that this one is too long, we can ask it to make it shorter. And I feel it is a bit too long. And now we get a shorter featured snippet that we add to the top of our page, to the top of our content, and we can get the sweet clicks of the 0 page result. The last thing that we're going to look at is creating images for our articles. Whatever we look for in Google, we can see that Google is now showing images right next to normal search results, right? And by the way, these are the FAQs, rich snippets that we worked on previously. So it is extremely important that every URL that we want to optimize for SEO has an image that is up there. So we do have to have an image. We have to have the image optimized. And usually the problem with the images is that we don't have an image, or we use the same image as everyone else. We just go to any free images stock online and find an image that everyone else is using and put it up there. If you've ever seen this image, you know what I talk about, right? So the painted children's hands are everywhere and everyone is using that. Is there a reason that Google is going to should show your image that is the same as everyone else's image in search results? Not really, right? This is why using AI for creating images is a great idea, because you always get a unique image. An image that no one else has used, and it's more or less for free. We have already used DALL-E, so the OpenAI for creating images from the same company. It looks like OpenAI, the company, is going to rule the AI world in the future. We just have to log in. And now we have to create images. We already tried. Let's see. Our article was about bird feeding. Create an image of a bird feeder on a modern house in a realistic version. Let's see what happens. And now we can go and click on an image and ask for variations of that image, right? So if we see an image that we like, we want to go in that direction, but it's not really 100% there yet, we can always just ask for the variations. And we'll get them. See, now we have variations of these images, even though DALL-E just went really weird. We can always edit the image. This is something that is in beta. We can crop the image or create a frame or whatever. It's not really that important. What is important is that we can go and change the query that we gave to the AI in the same way that we've done that before, right? And you can see you get 15 free credits that refill every month. And to see the query that we were using, we just go here to at the right. If you can see at the right here, we have the history of all of the images that we have seen. You can't really see that. So this is the history. These are the first images that we gave, and here it's going to show us the query that we asked. Create an image of a bird feeder on a modern big house in online version. And this is how we can move through all of our, through different images, and then get images that are going to be unique and the best for our articles. And now let's go to the next big chunk of our lecture. This is the technical SEO optimization. In this lesson, we're going to check out how we can use ChatGPT to do technical website optimization for SEO. Technical website optimization is something that it is probably the most complicated or knowledge-dense part of SEO, right? You have to understand coding, you have to understand different languages, HTML, PHP, CSS, Ajax, JavaScript, Java, what other things are, server side, user side, whatever stuff, all of the different things, you have to understand and know what Google thinks about them and how it is able to index on or crawl them, right? So AI will be extremely good and can be really usable in analyzing the technical SEO of your website. It is true that right now there's not really a lot of usage of that, even though some tools, SEO tools, tell you that they are using AI for the one or the other stuff, but in general, they're not. But there are a couple of instances that I found where we can use ChatGPT to analyze the technical things on our website. In the future, I'm pretty sure that the ChatGPT is going to be able to go and fetch the source of the website and give you all of some stuff that is wrong with that. And it's going to be used in tools that are going to help you with your technical optimization. But for now, we have to do stuff manual. But here are the ideas of what you can do. Let's go to the idea number one. And that is checking if our URLs and thinking about are our URLs great or not. Google tells us that the simpler that our URLs are, the better it is. Google also tells us that we should be using keywords within our URLs and that they should be static URLs. So let's just go and ask ChatGPT, is this URL optimal for SEO? And then just paste your URL in there. And it says it's difficult to say whether a specific URL is optimal for SEO without knowing more about the context. But there are things you can do to make your URL more SEO friendly. Number one, use keywords in your URL. Number two, use a clear and concise URL structure. Number three, use hyphens to separate the word. Keep your URLs short and avoid using special characters. All of these things are relevant for this URL because we don't use hyphens. In the part of the URL, it tells us that we should use hyphens because the URL is sort of long. It tells us that our URLs should be shorter, right? We can also ask it, this website uses the INT subdomain, so international.etam.com. Is it okay that we use if it's okay to use an international subdomain, and we get an explanation of that, if that is good or not. And it tells us the most important thing: subdomains are treated as separate websites by search engines, even though Google changed sort of that, but it's still looking at them in such a way, and we get all of the other ideas. So we can, if you have a web shop where you have weird URLs and you're not sure if these are great, ask ChatGPT. There are other things that we can also ask ChatGPT, and the more programmatical or the more we go into the website code, the better the results are, right? One of the things that we want to see in international SEO are this. So hreflang alternate tags. They have to show to the alternate version, a language version of any content on any content to every other content, right? So in the code, this web page has a link to every other URL in every other URL language, any other language that it is supporting. They are a bit overdoing it, but that's okay. I can ask ChatGPT if my tags are okay, and it's going to check it and says, okay, it looks like they're working okay. And then it tells me stuff about how they should be used, right? And it finishes that overall it looks that it works well. But if we change that, if we go back and use the same code, but only make it, just have the empty country tags. Let's see what he's going to say. See, these links are missing the hreflang attribute. The hreflang attribute is used to indicate. So it tells you what is missing. It analyzes the text. It tells you what is missing. And it tells you why something is missing and how it should be done better. And what you can also do is you can just go and give it a random part of your website, a random part of your code, and it will tell you what's wrong with that. I just took, the first 40 lines of the code. You probably won't be able to put the whole code of your whole website into the ChatGPT because it has limitations on how much we can put in there. But if we put the beginning, like the first 50 lines, and ask it, can you analyze this code and tell me what we can optimize for SEO? It gives me great ideas. Find a descriptive page title. And it tells you which one is now and tells you how to change it. Add alt text to images. Of course, you want to optimize images. Create a better meta description. Consider adding structured data to the page. Very good. And other things that may not be really as great because, the subheadings, he didn't really analyze any subheadings, and meta keywords are not as relevant. Page load time is really relevant, but he didn't really analyze if the page load time is good or not. So some of those are really specific for exactly the code that we gave him, and some of the ideas are a bit more general. But still, SEMrush or Ahrefs or Moz, all of these tools will cost you hundreds of euros per month. Here you can do big parts of that for free by yourself. In the third part, when we talk about the technical optimization, we're going to talk about the page speed insights. So Google has given us a tool where we can analyze how fast our web page can load. And with that, we get a great tool to figure out what we can optimize on our website. Let's go and check it out. We can find the tool at pagespeed.web.dev, and we enter a URL into the page, and that's not a URL. We add a URL into the page, and we receive a result. The problem with these results is that it gives us a big list of results. It tells us for some of them what they are and how we can change them, but it's really hard to understand for non-technical people which of these should really be changed and what exactly do they mean. This is how we get results from page speed insights, right? It tells us how good we are on a scale from 1 to 10. It tells us how much time a user would need to load our page. And then it gives us opportunities, right? What we can do is we can copy this into ChatGPT. Can you tell me which one of these results from page speed insights is the most important one for us to change? And then it analyzes the text and tells us which of these are likely the most important. And it even tells you what these are and how we can do that. And we can of course, ask additional questions. How can I reduce unused JavaScript? So it analyzes the results we got from Google, and it gives you additional ideas of what those results mean. All of these together, if you do them one by one URL by one URL, you will get great ideas on what are all of the technical things that you can change for your SEO, and with that, you'll get better SEO results. In this section, we'll talk about how we can use ChatGPT to get better, more, and understand our backlinks better. Creating backlinks is probably the least used but the most important part of SEO, the part of SEO that companies mostly forget about, because it's weird to understand why and how we can get someone else to link to our website. Why would people do that, right? This is why it has to have, even as a project, it has to have a very specific focus and a very specific target that you have to do. This is why we have to use tools to understand why and where to get backlinks. But when we get them, this can be the most important part of your SEO. One of the things that I like to use ChatGPT for is the analysis of backlinks. Analysis of bad backlinks can be really important for SEO. So let's check. If I take a website and then ask ChatGPT. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show in my monitor. We'll take a website, the H&M website. So, a well-known brand. We'll analyze the backlinks that come to this brand. And I have to set that to subdomain. Maybe I can just change that. And now I can see all of the backlinks from this subdomain, from this website, right? If I export my backlinks, I have it set to 1 link per domain. If I export that into Excel, I can go and ask stuff about these links to ChatGPT. For example, let me open up the Excel that I received and then find the referring page URL. These are the pages that we are getting backlinks from. We're going to take 500. We can look for, can you find non-English websites in this list? It was a too long list. Let's take 200 backlinks first. Can you sort these backlinks by the language? Oh, yeah. And then it tells me which links come from which country or which language. So these are all of the Spanish links, right? So sorting data. Finding, I can ask it which are non-English. Maybe ask it which are Chinese, because a lot of spam links come to European websites. Spam links come from Chinese websites. All of these are different ways of how we can slice the data so that we can understand better our backlinks or the backlinks from our competition. Because if we see that our competition has a lot of backlinks from Spain, we know we have to get a lot of backlinks from Spain. And doing this manually would be something really, really long, because we would have to go through all of the links, click on each and every one of them, figure out which language it is, and put it into Excel. Now, all of that is done for us. It's again not perfect because, of course, I've seen that New York Post is English. I'm not sure what it gave it to Spanish backlinks, but still. And now it's sorting out English backlinks, and then it's going to go and sort out other backlinks. One of the things where you can use ChatGPT for backlinks is for it to generate emails that we can send out to get backlinks, right? Email outreach to people that have websites is an extremely important part of getting backlinks, and it's tedious. People like to use templates that don't really work, and having non-unique emails can threaten your email health. This is why we can just ask ChatGPT to give us an email that we can send to someone, right? So I have an owner of a website that is called Jagranos General Knowledge, and I would like to add a link to our website that has a list of all of the satellites currently in Earth's orbit, right? And it gives us the sample email. Dear, I'm reaching out to you because I noticed that you have a comprehensive list. We can also ask it, can you also prepare an email subject? And it's going to give me a subject. We'd like to propose a partnership with a website. We believe that adding a link. I believe this email is not really that good. Can you change that email to be more relaxed? Because it's, we'd like to propose a partnership with a website. We believe that adding a link to our website on your page would be a great way to provide la 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 la. That's not really true. Make it more relaxed. Martina and I were on a website that keeps track of all satellites. We're wondering if you'd be open to adding a link to our website on your page. In return, we'll be happy to include a link to our website on ours as well. I didn't really tell him that I want to do a backlink exchange, but that's okay. And now we need a subject. And of course, what we're also going to need is we're going to need a follow-up email. Can you prepare a follow-up email if the person does not reply? And now we should receive. And if needed, we can have, 1, 2, 3 follow-ups. All of these prepared, the subject and the content prepared by ChatGPT. And sometimes we receive this. The model is currently overloaded with other requests. You can retry, or especially at the times where people from the US start using the ChatGPT, it seems to be overwhelmed. But you just try again. It's a free tool for now, so nothing that we can really do about it. And we have a follow-up email. Again, use the the things that we talked about when creating content, right? If you would like it to be in this way, the email in this way or in that way, if you would like it to be updated, all of these things, the more precise your instructions are, the better the emails are going to be, right? What is great is that ChatGPT just told me I should reach out to the person to a different communication channel. And I can ask it, can you prepare a LinkedIn message? See, it doesn't only help you with what you want, it also tells you what you need. And because you really want to stand out, as you're going to add an image to this one, right, to the email, and we're going to ask it to prepare a query that we want to put into DALL-E, so to the other AI, that will create an image that we can attach. And when he finishes, we're going to ask for that so that we can also get an image. In SEO outreach, it is extremely important that you stand out from the crowd, that you are different than everyone else. So adding an image or adding a joke or adding, let's get an SEO joke. Will allow you to stand out. Can you also tell me an SEO joke? What was the SEO expert's website always on the first page of Google search results? Because it had high-ranking content. It's not really funny. So now we have an email, a subject, a follow-up email with the subject. We have a LinkedIn message. We have an image to add to that email, and we have a joke to add to that email. All of that together is a great source of how we can use. It's a great way of getting backlinks for your website. Your outreach is going to be better with Chat GPT, and that's it. This is the last lesson, and here we're going to look at something completely different and something that is not directly SEO, but it is extremely important for SEO. If you've read about SEO recently, you've learned how stuff like dwell time or time on site, or in general, the relevancy of your web page. So does the user get the information that he or she needs? Does he or she spend a lot of time on your website? All of these things are getting more and more important for SEO. All of the content updates that Google is doing right now are also making us move away from only having text on our websites, but it wants us to generate other things for our website. Infographics, lists, tables, videos, audio, all of those things. And one of the things that we are extremely good at keeping the focus of our users on our website are micro tools, as I like to call them. Micro tools are tools that can be a part of the content and then can help you solve a small problem or maybe a bigger one, and will make people stay on your website longer or maybe even come back more often. Micro tools are not hard to program, but you still need to find a programmer. You have to know how to add it to your website. He has to program that. You have to pay him, all of these things. Luckily, ChatGPT is a programmer by itself. So we can ask it to program stuff for us. Let's go and check out how we can do that. For example, if you are a website that talks about health and weight loss, very often pages that talk about that have a BMI, so body mass index calculator on the website. BMI calculator. This is a very, very simple tool where you just put in there your age, generally your height and your weight. You don't even have to use your age and gender. Let's use a different one. Your height and your weight, and it's going to give you your body mass index, right? So my height is 197, my weight is 97, my body mass index is 25. And then it tells you 25 is exactly on the border between normal weight and overweight. And yes, I have to lose weight. Having such a calculator on your website is great. Or coming from the other side, having an article on body mass index without the calculator is really bad. And body mass index and body mass index calculator are keywords that are extremely, extremely looked for, right? So body mass index, BMI, has a keyword volume, 550,000 people search for it every month. And BMI calculator is a keyword that is searched 1.8 million times every month. A lot of potential, right? All right. Can you program a script in HTML to calculate the body mass index? Let's see. It says certainly. HTML hat. It even gives you a title. Then it gives you a body, what a heading. So it's very good for SEO. It gives you the instructions for it, and then it shows a form. Form where you add your weight and your height and the button, and then it completes the form, and it gives you a result. And then also it creates a script that is gonna make the calculation. And it even gives you instructions of how to use that. Let's see if that is really true. I have a test website here. I open a new post. I call it the body mass index calculator. And I paste in there the HTML that I've been given. I go to preview. Let's see what happens. We have a body mass index calculator. It tells you enter your weight in kilograms and height in meters below to calculate your BMI. I go with the same numbers, and what do I get? A similar number that I did before. I can ask it to make the script a bit nicer, make it look better, and I'll add some formatting and some error handling. So what it's added now is, it's unbelievably interesting, is added some formatting. So, you know, how the form looks like and what the font size is and the margins and all of that. And it also added some error controls, right? So if you didn't add both your weight and height, it tells you please enter both your weight and height, right? So if we add now this to the website, it's not going to look nicer because I haven't pasted the style part yet, so the CSS yet. But if I only give my weight, it's going to tell me to enter both, right? And I have to do this, 97 and 197. And it tells me 24.99, right? I could now go and say, can you please change that the height is not given in meters, but in centimeters? Because no one's going to write 1.97 meters. I think so, right? And it gives me that. So it doesn't really matter. There's so many different things that you can add to your website now because you have a free programmer at your fingertips, right? Of course, it's number one, think about what all the tools you could be giving your customers and then start working on them. And as you see, the more you talk to it, the better it gets. The more you talk to it, the more ideas you get on what you can use it for. So ChatGPT is for me a big, I use it more than I use Google recently because it gives me directly answers, even though I know some of them are lies. And so it should be for you because you are gonna become a master of it, and the more you know how to use it, the more you're gonna use it for marketing. In this lesson, we're going to look at what are the errors and mistakes that ChatGPT makes. And yes, believe it or not, the idea that the content from ChatGPT isn't the best is not only Google's, it's generally comme ci, comme ça, what our friends from France say. There are weird things that can happen when you ask ChatGPT to create content for you. A couple of those weird things, let's go and check them out directly in the chat. Let's go and let's say, can you give me a list of all holidays in Austria? When I was preparing content for a website where I have lists of holidays for different countries, I figured out that ChatGPT has no idea which are really holidays in a country or not. Because ChatGPT is a language programming system, it has no idea if it does stuff right or not. It doesn't really care about if the content is right or not. What it cares about is giving you an answer to your question. And the problem with it is that the answer to your question can be wrong, and it knows how to create the answer so that it sounds plausible and it sounds true, even if it's not. And it doesn't care to give you a wrong answer. It just cares about giving you an answer that looks true. And the problem with this is it's incredibly hard to figure out which facts are true or not because they all look true. You have to be a really good expert in some matter to see which of the things that ChatGPT told you are wrong. Looking at these holidays in Austria, it seems that it created that the answer is all right. My experience was that when it created such a table with all of the holidays, it went berserk and it showed stuff that isn't really true. Let's see if it does that true. It's interesting creating all of these lectures here because, of course, the answers that we get from ChatGPT can be different from a second to the other second, even for the same query. So showing you something that I know is going to happen can be problematic because ChatGPT can just decide to answer stuff in a different way. So it seems that it answered here well. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, St. Stephen's, Stefanitag. Is this one? That's all right. I can show you examples from chats that I've done in the past when I ask it to give me a comparison of calories in couscous and rice, where you can see that couscous is supposed to be 3 times denser in calories. But if we check that in Google, we can see that couscous only has 112 calories per 100 grams compared to rice that has 130. So it seems that the answer here is completely wrong. Also, if we ask ChatGPT to provide sources for the content that it is giving us, it always gives us sources. But these sources don't really exist. For example, I can ask him, prepare an argument against abortion with sources, and it gives me the argument. It even gives me the source of the argument with the link to the study. But the study doesn't exist. Right? There's a magazine that's called First Things, and it's an journal, it says here, America's most influential journal of religion and public life. But looking for the name of the study, abortion and the consistency life ethics, it doesn't exist. There is no such article or article here. And the same goes for the second source, right? Abortion and the Sanctity of Human Life, but Scott Klausendorf. If I click on the website, it doesn't exist. And I can click on other sources, and none of these sources work. You could say that because it has a database only going back until 2021, those are old, but I've Googled these and they don't exist. So whenever we are looking for very specific facts, we have to fact check them in the same way as we would be with any other source that we are working with, right? And this comes back to what we were talking about in the previous lessons on why is Google not really believing in content generated from AI? Because it's often wrong. And you shouldn't be going and using articles and content directly from chatbots in your website. You should fact check them. People should go through them, make sure that they are right, that they're interesting, and that there is something new. And if you are using content like that, it's gonna rank well because it is quality content and not automatically generated content. And this is it. I've told you everything that you can use ChatGPT for in SEO and in marketing. And are there some great ideas in there? I hope you really enjoyed listening to the lectures, and review it. Tell me what's wrong with it. Tell me what's great with it. And as I said before in the videos, the more you use ChatGPT, the better it's going to be because you'll know how to use it better. The other thing is it's going to be upgraded to a newer version in 2023, and it's going to be 10 times or probably hundreds of times better than what it is now. So the real power of ChatGPT is going to come out with the new version. And until then, if you train yourself on how to use it, you're going to be able to use the whole power of it when the new version comes out. Thank you and have a great day. And of course, all of the best for your SEO results.